Hello there, dear viewer, welcome to the build. This one is the Skull Shaman. How are you going to hamfist an explanation for why the Skull don't recognize you when you first get to their shabby little hamlet? I don't know, but you are totally one of them, and use all the mystique amazing powers of a noble tribe in tune with nature. Maybe, for example, you grew up in Skyrim because your parents left the village a long time ago, exiled for some shady dealings with Hermamora, let's say? But they saw the light afterwards and raised you in the good old religion of the All-Maker. Okay, let's go with that.
Ooh, big stretch, buddy. Oh, is there a dog in here? No.
Returning to Solstheim will be an important character moment, therefore, from the roleplay side of things, and for gameplay, and for your magic powers repertoire.
Repertoire. That's not how that's pronounced.
It's absolutely crucial that you reach the island early. This is a slightly modded build. We use Wintersun, faiths of Skyrim, to worship the All-Maker, who, in due time, will grant you the ability to regain the powers of the All-Maker's stones upon praying. Usually, nobody uses these powers. They are worse than daily powers, and are nowhere nearly powerful enough to justify regular trips to the stones. However, with the All-Maker Wintersun worship, you can just pray, and all those stone powers you used are re-added to your power list. Northwind and Sunflare are particularly underwhelming, but if you drink a potion of fortified destruction before using them, you get almost double the damage. Then drop that Werber into the mix and you win, really. Then pray, and you get all three of those powers ready to use in the next fight. This is also a very sneaky old wizard.
A big old sneaky wizard.
Able to infiltrate dungeons with little to no risk of detection. And even if detected, he has a few tricks up his sleeve to disable pursuing enemies or escape and hide again. This is because we use amazing illusion spells and some amazing alteration spells. We can paralyze, scare off and calm down enemies willy-nilly. One of my favorite things to do with this character is to brisk through a dungeon unseen, and then only kill the boss with the aforementioned combo of stone powers. And perhaps some other combos I am about to unfold on you. Get my quest objectives done and fade away like a spooky, mostly peaceful assassin wizard I am at heart. But there is more. On top of being a very successful stealth mage, this is also a very successful puppet master build thanks to the combo of vanilla and modded spells and perks. With one perk from Vokrii, he can recruit one animal to follow and fight for him. It includes trolls. Trolls are fun to be around. Then he can summon a Spirit Guardian, which is an extra follower perfectly capable of using any armor and weapons you give them. It doesn't count against the follower limit, so you can have a standard follower on top of that. And then with the finished build we can have up to 2 summons. We will use at least one of the summon slots for a totem spell. Totems are spells from Triumvirate mod, specifically shaman spells, which you can place wherever you want within your summoning range, which for the complete build is anywhere you have a line of sight to. Water Totem will heal your health and magicka by 10 points per second. Earth Totem will send out a tremor every 7 seconds, staggering enemies and dealing considerable damage. Yep, with quiet casting you can place all that, the runes of paralysis, the totems, conjurable bears and other minions, while remaining undetected. This is neat. But what makes this build particularly exciting is the house rule. We don't use any magic items because we abhor and reject capturing the souls of living beings. It is an abominable, vile thing in our eyes.
It's an abomination!
We also don't use any direct damage spells. By that I mean projectile and fireball-like spells, which are obviously designed to hurt living things. Earth totems are fine, and even one wall-like spell was used because it's cool, okay? It's bramble growth. Enemies entering your area of poisoned brambles will take a bit of damage and stagger. No, look, the shaman doesn't want to kill anyone or anything, but If they decided to walk into a floor overgrown with poisonous weed and into an earthquake and a little squadron of bears and human-shaped bears, well, it's kind of their own choice, isn't it? There's one tiny exception to the no magic items rule, the Mentor's Ring. It's nothing major, 10% casting cost reduction for all spells. It's an ancient artifact that can be found by fishing. I'm sure it was crafted without capturing any souls. Yep, that's what I'm going with. So yeah, there's a lot of variety in the gameplay. You can go full-on infiltration with invisibility, muffle and crowd control spells, or you can rush into the area with a host of creatures. On top of all the summons and companions, you can also use the call spells like Call Rattlesnakes or Call Snow Leopard from Triumvirate. These are concentration summoning spells, so they spawn creatures and these remain on the field of battle for as long as you keep the spell up. If you cast those spells near your water totem, which heals your magicka continuously, you can keep the cheaper call spells like Call Wolf or Call Leopard pretty much indefinitely. Creatures summoned via call spells also don't count towards your summon limit because it's all perfectly balanced and fine. The build is basically a mashup of some of my older build ideas, the Druid, the Beastmaster and the Priest of Arkay. I'm sure I won't forget to link those in the description. It is also more efficient than those three. It feels nearly complete just after level 40. I am making some progress, guys. It's more and more efficient. Soon enough I will have a level 20 build that destroys everything by looking at it. So, what mods do we need exactly? Well, Vokrii for alteration, speech and alchemy perks, quite important to the build. Your beneficial potions will last for much longer than what's doable in vanilla, for example. Considering we don't use any enchanted items, it is rather convenient to have your elemental resistance potions active for a long time. Speech will grant you the ability to recruit animals to your side, and alteration, well, it just makes everything better. Wintersun, as mentioned, is here for the All Maker, so that we can unleash all the stone powers in harder fights and then reacquire them after the fight is over by praying. The Andromeda Standing Stones is used for the Apprentice Stone. This one makes all the novice spells free to cast. With our spell mods, Odin and Triumvirate, we get quite a few really good novice spells. The Water Totem, which heals you by an obscene amount per second, is a novice spell. Basic Healing spell is a novice spell. Call Raven from Triumvirate is a novice spell. Conjure Familiar is a novice spell, and with the Odin mod it will not only provide a nice distraction, but also improve your magicka regeneration. And most importantly, despite being an adept level spell, the Visions of Healing is also affected by the Apprentice Stone for some reason, and thus costs nothing to cast. It's a weird spell and rather powerful one that absorbs a lot of health from a random enemy near you. This is another amazing combo that won't cost you a single point of magicka. Place a water totem, cast Visions of Healing, keep up the novice healing in both hands. This makes you essentially immortal, while the Visions of Healing slowly chips away the enemy health. Later on, with Twin Souls perk and some magicka surplus, you can add an Earth Totem to this, so it also deals damage to your enemies, and maybe Troll's Blood spell from Odin, which will improve your health regeneration even more. With enough patience and some followers equipped with bows, even dragons can be defeated with this extremely cost-effective combo. I guess your most crucial tasks for the early game are activating the Apprentice Stone, blazing through the early stages of the main quest so that you can go to Solstheim and cleanse the stones to worship the Allmaker, and then obtaining the Water Totem spell while you are at all of that. For the looks alone, we use a mod called FurArmorSet. It adds various bits of clothing made of fur, capes, hats, ponchos. Each can be a light armor piece or a clothing piece. We are, of course, after the latter. Underneath all that fur, we wear a common robe available in Anniversary Edition or the Ghost of the Tribunal creation. You should be able to buy it from Fethys Alor in Raven Rock. So, let's talk the basics. We are a Nord mainly to feel like we belong in the Skull village. For roleplay reasons, a high elf would be a more efficient choice, but with all those free spells, maybe we can miss out on that extra 50 magicka. The standing stone is of course the apprentice for the reasons already mentioned. Free OP novice spells, that is. The apprentice will also make all other spells cost 15% less magicka to cast. This stacks with the mentor's ring for the combined total of 25% cost reduction for all spells. The attribute spread is 2 points of magicka per 1 of health. This is what we have to do in the absence of fortify magicka items. Sadly, we don't even use fortify alchemy items, so our magicka potions also won't quite cut it. We instead invest in magicka regeneration and believe in a rather sizable natural magicka pool, because we are so natural and noble and pure and kind-hearted. Oh, we are so good. Be careful and mind the traps. With such a small red bar, they can be quite deadly on higher difficulty levels.
We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there?
And we worship the All-Maker in Wintersun for the sake of his devotee ability. As mentioned, it allows you to reacquire the All-Maker stone's powers at will by praying. We can still use the Blessing of Julianos, since the Blessing of the All-Maker is nearly useless to us. His blessing grants us extra damage against animals, but since we love nature so much, we probably want to just pacify or recruit animals via Kind's Peace or Animal Allegiance or through the Speak with Animals Vokrii perk. Meanwhile, Julianos will provide a little bit of extra magicka to stack with the Alter Self perk. It adds up to extra 50 points of magicka, the perk and the blessing I mean. And now for the skills 2 perk. It's Alteration, Illusion, Conjuration, Sneak, Alchemy, Restoration, Speech, and Distraction. That's more or less in the order of importance. Alteration, Illusion, Sneak, and Conjuration are responsible for most of your combat style, and you should always prioritize these 4 over all the others. Yes, I am aware we don't use any distraction spells, so increasing the distraction skill is going to be annoying, but we really want that Rune Master perk with high sneak and quiet casting. A well-placed Rune of Paralysis or a Rune of Fear from Odin can win you the battle before it's even properly started. It is rather useful to have your range increased for rune placement. Use paid training at every available opportunity. You need 40 in the skill to unlock 1 rank of the Rune Master, and then you can just forget about it. Then, a tad more important but still skippable if you have better ideas, is the Speech skill for the Speak with Animals and Beastmaster perk. Recruit any animal to your side on top of the usual follower limit. Make that animal stronger with the Beastmaster. For the optimal efficiency, let that animal be a snow troll. Trolls have an innate health regeneration. If you place your water totem nearby, they will stand and fight for you for ages. We need a handful of perks in Restoration too, both ranks of Inner Light to get extra magicka regeneration, 2% of your current total. Since we invest heavily in magicka, this will end up being a substantial growth. Inspire will slowly heal your nearby allies. It actually works on your totems. With your sneak, enemies tend to attack those before they attack you. So with your water totem out, the totem heals your magicka and health, and you heal its health, and it's just one cute little circle of life. Now for something slightly more impactful, alchemy. It is still in large part a roleplay decision. Stimulants will be greatly beneficial to us. It improves your magicka regeneration as long as you are under the influence. It combines with Inner Light and makes it 4% of your total magicka regained every second. Slow metabolism will make all your potions last for much longer, so the stimulants effects will of course also last for longer, likely for the entire combat encounter or or two. I consider the rest of alchemy perks optional. Without fortify alchemy items we cannot properly optimize our potions anyway, so the copious amounts of concoctions are just going to eat away your inventory space and likely never be used. Nevertheless, try to have some fortified destruction potions at all times. Your Sunflare and North Wind powers will benefit from these potions, dealing substantially more damage, especially if an Earth Totem is also out. Another source of damage, yes. Fortify Restoration will improve the Visions of Healing spell, which you should have active at all times, as it is your main way of dealing damage. Fortify Sneak potions and Invisibility are going to be mighty useful early on, before your Sneak skill is fully perked. Speaking of which, in Sneak we aim to become extremely difficult to detect, even without enchantments, so both ranks of Silent Movement, Blind Spot to be harder to detect by nearby enemies, and Fog of War to be even harder to detect in combat. This is important because it optimizes quiet casting, which we will use constantly. No matter what spells you cast and how close your enemies are while you do so, you should remain at least partly hidden the entire time. If detected, however, you have a few different invisibility spells to cast, or you can just unleash hell of earth-shattering totems, ravens, rattlesnakes, leopards, and all maker powers. Most enemies won't stand a chance against your full might anyway. You are trying to avoid combat mainly out of pity for them, not out of fear. So yes, illusion, we need that quiet casting ASAP, all ranks in Animage and Master of the Mind too, of course, and then Terror, so that our fear spells, mainly the Fear Rune, can disarm the affected enemies. Heck, follow that with Paralysis Rune, which is the best way of delivering paralysis, by the way. Now they lose their weapons and cannot move. Even if they survive your totems and minions, somehow they won't be able to fight for a long ass time. In Conjuration we want the left hand side and both ranks of Rift Summoner. Rift Summoner greatly extends your summoning range, allowing you to place your totems really far away, or using your minions as an even more useful distraction, making enemies focus on them a long time before they can spot you. Twin Souls is a really vital perk to the build. Having both Water Totem and an Earth Totem out at the same time is really devastating. 2 Earth Totems can clear out rooms full of bandits for you in approximately 14 seconds. It's rather amazing. Last but definitely not least, we have Alteration, a wonderful selection of perks that improves everything about you. The only caveat is we take 1 rank, and 1 rank only, of Mage Armor. That is because if you are taking damage in the early game, you are not doing it right. You should avoid combat and hire a follower in your early days. Fury and Heal are both easily obtainable novice spells, so they should be free to cast for you pretty soon. Use them both if you need it, with the Water Totem preferably. Other than that, use Fortify Sneak potions and remain hidden as much as possible. Later in the game you will obtain Dragon Hide and have unlocked the Okatos Preparation perk, meaning Dragon Hide will be cast on you for free at the start of each combat, so stability will be useful to extend the duration of Dragon Hide, and you pretty much need it only when Dragon Hide is known to you. Sorcerer's Robes makes all your spells stronger, all of them. Even the free to cast Visions of Healing will absorb more health, because f*** you. By the way, the Apprentice Stone gives you a random chance of enhancing any spell you cast by 50%, so best case scenario, you have your spells 75% stronger, not counting potions. So yes, we don't really need any enchanted items, we have our spells enhanced by a lot and our magicka regenerates at an obscene rate regardless. No gear section today. Mentor's Ring is cute though, that's that. So it's time therefore to talk about spells, and there's so many of them. As you can see in the video, we use a bucket load of spells quite regularly. We always want to start with Visions of Healing. It's broken to the point of delicious. Take health from a random enemy, and the amount of health absorbed is affected by Fortify Restoration Potions. Wonderful! We want our totems out, of course. 2 earth totems will obliterate enemies, 2 water totems will make you regenerate magicka so fast you can have 2 concentration spells up and still regain some magicka. I mean concentration summons specifically, Call Grey Wolf and Call Snow Leopard. Sometimes you may prefer to replace one of the totems with an actual summon, like the Bear from Pride of Hirstang, an Anniversary Edition spell that is perfectly balanced. It summons a powerful animal, tops your frost resistance, and grants you 50% faster health regeneration. Thank you, Todd. When using a water totem, you should probably remember about Troll's Blood too, another considerable boost to your health regen. Then you have the runes: Calming Rune, Fear Rune, and Paralysis Rune. Frankly, Paralysis Rune is more than enough by itself, but this way of doing things is way more amusing. Bramble Growth deals DOT wherever it is placed, nice to use in conjunction with Paralysis Runes. And we also use a set of sneaky little utility spells. Muffle, of course, Crying Eye, which makes enemies less perceptive, very useful early game, and very much another novice spell. And of course, invisibility spells. I say spells, plural, because as of Anniversary Edition we have Orum's Aquatic Escape and Fenric's Welcome. The latter allows you to open any lock up to expert difficulty. Lovely! From the shouts, I mainly use those useful for stealth and subterfuge, so Aura Whisper and Throw Voice. Aura Whisper so I can assess my next step, should I try to sneak past enemies or maybe there is too many of them and open combat is inevitable, forcing me to enter the Beast mode, or Beastmaster mode in this case. Throw Voice was used to direct enemies towards my runes. It's good old-fashioned Skyrim fun. Become Ethereal turned out to be somewhat useful in dragon fights. Those can really drag on with this build. Stay close to your water totems, chug your resistance potions, and hope for the best. And that's that. Phew! Last time I did so much talking, it was well, it was in some other build video actually. I can't be conjuring some quippy jokes after all of this. I need some rest. Anywho, my job here is over and I can now go back to my basement just to re-emerge when Starfield is released. We will see each other again. Bye bye.